If you want to support more content on this channel and do some Detroit smashing at the same time, check out our merch store, link in the description, limited time only. What is up everybody, it's AnimeUproar here for AnimeUproar, and in this video we will be talking about a massive plot twist that has just been revealed in the latest chapters of the Boku no Hero manga, and the new evidence that has emerged about Dabi's true identity. Some of these James Bond double agent spy twists definitely caught me by surprise. And on top of what we learned, we also got some additional clues about Dabi's identity that are just insane and could have staggering implications on the plot. We actually just ran a poll about what type of MHA videos you guys want to see next here on the channel, and a video on Dabi won by a decent margin, so here we go. Thank you for participating, and if you want to take part in future polls like this one, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. If you enjoyed the MHA content on this channel, you can leave a like to let me know. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and Detroit smash that notification bell. Naturally, this video will contain manga spoilers since the anime is behind the manga in terms of the story, so this is your warning. Proceed with caution. So, what do we know about Dabi so far? We know that Dabi was inspired by Stain's ideology to join the League of Villains, so we know that he is not motivated by money, fame, or a desire to kill just for the sake of killing. This suggests that something happened in his life that led him to sympathize with Stain. Something in his life led Dabi to conclude that the current hero society is corrupt and filled with fake heroes. We also know that Dabi refuses to give his real name to anyone, and he was willing to fight Shigaraki to the death rather than reveal his true name. Finally, we know that Dabi's quirk is a flame-based quirk, but the color of the flames is blue rather than the traditional red or orange. The nature of Dabi's quirk has resulted in extensive speculation within the Boku no Hero fandom, and maybe the single most popular fan theory out there is that Dabi's father is actually Enji Todoroki, aka the Flame Hero Endeavor. Since children often inherit their quirks from their parents, and since Endeavor has a quirk that allows him to generate and manipulate flames, and he can even turn his flames blue when he increases their intensity, it isn't hard to jump to the conclusion that Dabi's quirk is a variation of Endeavor's because Endeavor is Dabi's real father. This would explain why Dabi refuses to reveal his real name. If his last name is Todoroki, then he would want to keep that hidden since Endeavor is the symbol of the type of fake hero that he hates. Instead of worrying about helping people, Endeavor is primarily concerned with being the strongest and surpassing All Might. And he goes so far as to mistreat his own wife and children in an attempt to make his son Shoto surpass All Might. For Endeavor, at least in the early parts of the story, it is all about his own personal ego rather than the greater good of society. But this is not all. Ever since Dabi was first introduced in the story, we've been getting hints here and there that there is some connection between Dabi and the Todoroki family. Dabi has roughly the same eye color as Endeavor and as one of Shoto's eyes. On top of that, during the forest training camp arc, Dabi makes it a point to address Shoto Todoroki by name and to mock him, as if he had some sort of special interest in Shoto. Then in the latest chapters, in a massive twist, we learned that Hawks, the current number 2 pro hero, has actually been working as a double agent, pretending to collaborate with the League of Villains while reporting on their activities back to the heroes. Hawks has been secretly communicating with Dabi, and the fact that Endeavor was attacked by a Nomu while out and about with Hawks was actually part of a plan that Hawks and Dabi came up with together. Although Hawks did not know how strong the Nomu would be, and the attack was supposed to occur the next day at a factory outside the city and not in the middle of the city. Also, Dabi seems to not have known that the hero Hawks would bring was Endeavor himself. From what we've seen so far, Hawks' goal as a double agent is to make the villains think that he is loyal to the League so that he can get information about them and so that he can ultimately meet the boss, meaning Shigaraki. And I assume that the whole point of the plan is to get Shigaraki to trust Hawks and reveal himself so that the heroes can take him down. When he meets Endeavor face to face, Dabi seems clearly excited by the prospect of facing him, and he even suggests that the two of them need to have a chat. Endeavor does not recognize Dabi as anyone more than a member of the League of Villains who killed the Sand hero Snatch. And we don't learn a lot more at this point because their chat is interrupted by the number 5 pro hero Miriko, and Dabi decides to retreat. But before he leaves, Dabi tells Endeavor that they'll have to continue their chat later. And he tells him not to kick the bucket before they meet again, and then calls him by his real name, Enji Todoroki, just like he did with Shoto many arcs earlier. Again, this makes it clear that Dabi has a special interest in Endeavor. He wants to face off against him in particular, and he even tells them not to die until they meet again because they need to have some sort of chat. At the very end of chapter 191, Dabi remembers when the sand hero Snatch asked him during their battle whether he ever stops to think about how the families of his victims feel. Dabi didn't answer this question during his battle with Snatch in chapter 160, but now he finally answers it by saying, "I thought so hard about it, I went crazy." I think that this is a very meaningful statement by Dabi, not just a throwaway line. Dabi's victims over the months and years include petty criminals and other lesser known individuals, but they also include pro heroes like Snatch. So what does Dabi mean when he says that thinking about the families of his victims made him go crazy? I don't think that he is talking about the families of petty criminals that he has killed, because if he really cared about their families and felt remorse, then he could just stop killing them. I think that this statement is referring to the families of pro heroes and the suffering that they have to go through because of the pro hero lifestyle. Pro heroes often have to make massive sacrifices for their profession, and their families pay the price. A great example of this is of course Enji Todoroki, aka Endeavor. He became so obsessed with being the number 1 pro hero and surpassing All Might that he married Shoto's mother primarily because of her quirk. He wanted to create an offspring with an incredibly powerful quirk by combining his wife's ice quirk with his own flame quirk. We know that Shoto has an older sister and 2 older brothers, but it wasn't until Shoto was born that Endeavor finally felt that he had a child with a quirk that was strong enough to one day surpass All Might. While we have already seen Shoto's sister and his middle brother, we have yet to meet his oldest brother, and we do not know his name. So, could it be that what Dabi means by this statement is that he is a member of Endeavor's family, that he is Endeavor's son, and the suffering that Endeavor put him through in his quest to surpass All Might is the thing that drove him crazy and turned him into a villain? Is Dabi Shoto's oldest brother, who after seeing Endeavor abuse their mother to the point that she was committed to a mental institution, decided to run away from home, reject the hero society, and adopt Stain's philosophy? We've met one of Shoto's older brothers, Natsuo, who is a 19-year-old college student. You could say that Natsuo has a similar frame and hairstyle to Dabi, but Natsuo is not Dabi because their appearance is definitely not the same, and Natsuo is shown to be watching the showdown between Endeavor and Dabi together with his sister Fuyumi. But Shoto Todoroki has another brother, the oldest brother, who has not been introduced and whose name we still don't know. So, could Dabi be Endeavor's oldest son? Since Endeavor tells us that Shoto is the only one of his children who has a quirk powerful enough to surpass All Might, it is safe to assume that Endeavor was unhappy with the abilities of his older children, and he probably mistreated them because of that. If Dabi is the oldest brother who abandoned the family because of how he was treated by his father, it would make perfect sense for him to say that thinking about the families of pro heroes is what drove him crazy. And it would also make perfect sense for him to sympathize with Stain's ideology, because Endeavor is the perfect example of a fake hero who doesn't want to be a hero to help others. Instead, he is doing it to satisfy his own selfish ego. And while he pretends to be heroic in public, he is actually cruel and abusive towards his own family in his private life. But if this is the case and Dabi is Shoto's oldest brother, then why doesn't Shoto recognize him, and why doesn't Endeavor recognize his own son? Even if he left the family a long time ago, it seems unlikely that no one in the family would recognize him, especially if Dabi's scars are real and he got them as a child, since that would be an even bigger tip-off about who he really is. All of the Todoroki children are also shown as having either white or red hair, or some kind of combination of those 2 colors. So for him to be one of them, Dabi's black hair doesn't really fit. The only way that Dabi could be Shoto's oldest brother is if he is wearing a disguise, meaning that his hair is dyed and his purple scars are not real but part of the disguise. The oldest son abandoning the family because of his father's abuse could turn out to be a major reason why Shoto's mother eventually ended up in a mental institution. So if we can accept that Dabi is wearing a disguise, then it is very possible that he could be Endeavor's eldest son and Shoto's oldest brother. If, however, Dabi's appearance is not a mask and he really looks like that, then my guess is that he could be Shoto's half-brother, a child of Endeavor and another woman, perhaps from a previous marriage or relationship that Endeavor hasn't seen in a very long time, so he wouldn't have seen Dabi since he was very small, and therefore he wouldn't be able to recognize him. In this case, Dabi could have inherited his dark hair from this other woman, and if he was a child from a previous relationship, then he likely would never have met Shoto and his other siblings, so it's no wonder that they would not recognize him. Knowing Endeavor, if he had been in a relationship with another woman and Dabi was their child, he is definitely the type of person to abandon Dabi if he felt that Dabi was unworthy of surpassing All Might. The fact that Endeavor chose Shoto's mom specifically because of her strong quirk could mean that he tried having children before, and this experience taught him that he must handpick his partner and make sure that she has the strongest possible quirk. Otherwise, he will not achieve the desired results, as was potentially the case with Dabi. And again, if Dabi was abandoned as a child by his father, who then went on to become one of the top-ranked pro heroes after starting a new family without him, it would make perfect sense for Dabi to despise the hero society and to sympathize with Stain's ideology. Dabi would be ashamed of his biological connection to Endeavor, and so it would also make perfect sense for him to hide his real name. I didn't always ascribe to this theory of Dabi being Shoto's brother or half-brother, but at this point in the manga, with all of the clues that we have been getting, I am 99% sure that Dabi is Endeavor's son, and either the oldest brother or an estranged half-brother of Shoto Todoroki. And with that said, I can't wait to find out more about all of this as the manga progresses. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Dabi is Endeavor's son and that the manga is slowly leading up to making that massive reveal? Feel free to give me your own theories, arguments, and counter-arguments down below. I always love hearing from you. If you enjoyed the MHA videos on this channel and you want to see more, you can let me know by leaving a like. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and Detroit smash that notification bell. Also, don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.